Hi guys, thanks for coming here. Yeah, we have amazing panelists today to talk about layer two, what we call L2s, right? And it's been a while. L2 space you know growing since the beginning emergence of the L2s. It was like 2020, and yeah, we have a great achievement from L2 space. And at the same time, we have a problems in L2 space, and we want to talk about that. So Vitalik is, it's not need to explain. He's a co-founder of Ethereum. And the Graham, he's from Mailload Research, tech lead. And basically, he's a Ethereum researcher. And the Sujian, he's a founder of Mask Network. So today, we need to talk about the yeah. Let's start from the quite big on the abstract problem, which is happening in L2. Basically, some people are optimizing calculation or speeding up of L2s, and the other people are minimizing their data size of L2. So there's maybe many bottlenecks or the problems to solve, a technical problem to solve in this space. But yeah, maybe people have different opinion about what is the biggest bottleneck. So let's start from Vitalik. What do you think is the biggest bottleneck of L2 to solve?
Yeah, I think for me, the most important short-term priority right now is decreasing the withdrawal time, right? Because right now, most L2s are optimistic rollups, which means you have to wait 1 week to withdraw from them. And like nobody wants to wait a week, but even if you pay a liquidity provider to wait 1 week for you, like that's still very expensive. And so this is a big part of why we see a lot of assets like doing their own bridging that has like a lot of multi-sig or like other kinds of worse trust assumptions to it. And so I think if we want to like really make issuing assets and natively on Ethereum L1 the primary way that asset issuance happens, which I think it should be, then the withdrawal time really needs to decrease so that native depositing and withdrawing becomes viable. And this basically, I think, means like moving from the optimistic proof systems to ZK proof systems. And like there are more moderate ways of doing it. So earlier in the year, I suggested the 2 of 3 OP plus ZK plus TEE approach. But generally, like if you move to ZK, then that means that you can the withdrawal time is as fast as you publish proofs on chain, right? And at that point, you can do other things to make proofs cheaper, and then you can publish proofs even more quickly. And if we do that, then like interacting between the L1 and L2s as L2s will become much more effective, and I think we'll see like a lot stronger cross-network effects between the different L2s happening.
So it's been a while. Optimix rollups are bigger than ZK rollups. And in your talk, basically, Optimix rollup have a waiting period 1 week, and which is not found in ZK rollups, right? So why do you think the what do you think the reason the ZK rollup is smaller than TVL wise or user numbers wise? It's smaller than Optimix rollup right now.
Okay, and I think for the TVL question, it's just the two biggest ones are like the OP stack ecosystem and Arbitrum, and both of them just happens to be optimistic. I think because well, they are the biggest by TVL because they have been around for a long time, and because they have been around for a long time, they started when ZK technology was extremely immature and OP was the only thing available. And I know that both of them are exploring ZK technology right now, right? And hoping that some of those chains can start moving to ZK pretty soon.
Yeah, it's really, yeah, maybe all of us are looking forward to seeing kind of their emerging, kind of merging together to like optimistic solution and ZK solution, right? So, okay, Graham, what do you think about the biggest bottleneck of layer 2 right now? Vitalik?
I think I'm not sure it's the biggest bottleneck, but I think there is a bottleneck about the layer two is user experience. And when we said about user experience, it's not only about for the user use the layer twos, and I think for the users, they don't need to worry about, they don't need to carry about the back logic or back algorithm. They just need to smoothly operate on the layer 2 chains or the chains. And not only for the final users, but also the same as to the developers. And for the developers, I think what they most need to care about is their functionalities or the workflows. And they don't need to worry about the all the interoperabilities through the chains. And I think what they do is once they make everything so smooth, and I think that might be the final goals.
So which part is not so smooth in layer 2 ecosystem? So basically, a lot of layer 2s are the popular layer 2s. Their RPC are just same as Ethereum layer 1 on the interfaces.
Yeah, what I mean is there's a lot of rules. There are different rules with the different chains, and when you want to do some real work and develop some applications, you need to follow different rules of different layer twos. But I think there should be a unified standard to apply, so people don't need to care about the different rules. They just follow the unique standard and build their own applications.
I see. Yeah, it's maybe a bit related to the fragmentation problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's follow up that point in the next question.
Yes.
So Suji, what do you think about the bottleneck?
Yeah, I think actually there's not too many things to do on layer twos. I think 2 days ago, Avi actually released like a research to the DAO, right? Avi say that 78% of income of AAV, I think that also apply for Compound or other DeFi's from Ethereum layer 1. And unfortunately, they also write they will also maybe they will quit to layer 2 because they just don't want to maintain it. Even for Avi, I think it's just actually very easy to maintain a lot of layer 2 because they're EVM equivalent. They just don't want to do that. If I have, all these gas fee on 10 layer 2 or 5 layer 2, I don't really have very interesting thing to do right now. So that's, I think, kind of like the overbuilding of infrastructure. We only have highways. We don't have like KTV. That's the problem. Like, we don't have restaurant. We don't have karaoke. We don't have like gaming center. We just go from one highway to another highway. No one go on highway for highways. So that's, I think, the biggest problem. Honestly, I think the most interesting things are not even on layer 2s. Like base is generally a layer 3, right? Or layer 2.5, depending how Coinbase define it. They have a lot of interesting things, but like Zora was the social thing, but they kind of like exit their own layer 3 and go to base. Pokemon cards and prediction market is Polygon, which theoretically it's not layer 2, but it's funny. It's very interesting. So I honestly think besides the ZK, especially the bridging time and user experience, I think the foundations of every layer 2 should have a strong internal team to think about the applications themselves. Because if you're building a phone, if you're building a software developer kit, but you don't really know what people want at all, you're just not going to work. And unfortunately, I think most of the layer 2s, they only have one or two full-time people. They don't even have a small team just to think about what people want. Yeah, so that's, I think, the problem, the biggest problem.
So basically, you are supporting scaling layer 1 or making one big layer 2.
No, I'm actually think that every layer 2 have different culture. Like even hotpot, it's a very big thing. Okay, hotpot is very important. If a layer 2 can have all the hotpot or the coupons there, it's good. Because right now, if we think about Pokemon, It's only on
So
Polygon.
layer 2 focusing on Pokemon or layer 2 focusing on hotspot.
Yes, they have to do
Okay.
one thing. One thing, if they can do it. I think it's very sad that the Starbucks thing of Polygon didn't went well. Now, because maybe because 2022 FTX, but even the coffee shop, if it went well, it's okay. Yeah, and I think we need one thing. Every layer two need to think about what's your culture, where's the team origin from, what's your people like. Definitely tech is very important, but even if you can finish hot pot and coffee shop, that is so important. I'd say like the two most interesting use case, three most interesting use case I see is social network, random Pokemon cards, and prediction market. And these are just so fun. You don't predict them by the days, because when I pitch the idea, you think, oh, no one want a pop up,
Okay,
but
cool.
that's important.
So basically, the layer 2s are can have such kind of focus domain for each chain, right? So maybe it's no, there's so many layer 2 right now, right? And I don't say it's so many, but some people saying that they're fragmentation, and this is a problem. And on the other hand, they have a sovereignty to kind of focus on their own domain, like like you said, cars or like a polychain. Sorry, not polychain. It's a polymarket, which is a very famous prediction market on layer two. It's hosted on Polygon. So yeah, there's a fragmentation, but it's making their own vibes. And so starting from discuss, fragmentation is bad or not. So basically, yeah, Suji, you said it's kind of good. And how about Vitalik?
Uh, Fragmentation, I think that's very important, but I think that really doesn't exist in a way. Um, I will pay extra for my pizza, extra delivery fee for my best pizza or my best coffee shop, extra $5, $10 just to deliver like 10 minutes early. I know sometimes you won't, like a lot of people, digital nomad, they won't do this, but they will get a coupon to do it. Let's say Polymarket, it's just on Polygon for so many years. And if you look in their website, they don't really have a like a official bridge something. They just have a QR code. Say if you transfer to this, we're gonna deduct some money and
Okay.
deposit to Polygon. It's actually quite expensive if you calculate the bridge fee, but people still do it because they have this eager to have this product right now, and people will do it. This is how consumer mindset work. The problem is always compared to the fragmentation, compared to the fee of bridging of gas fee, the product is not that interesting. We don't want to tip the bridge another $5 to do it. That is the
Okay.
biggest problem.
Yeah, it's fine. So, Vitalik, how do you think about this point? So, fragmentation itself is good, or
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that we want is different L2s going out and serving like different types of users and different communities and different applications. The thing that I think we also want is like these ecosystems still sharing network effects, and for someone on one layer two to still have like lots of options to interact with users that are either on L1 or that are on different L2s. And so I think the solution is not like trying to merge all of them into the same L1. I mean, especially because I think if we do, then like the trade-off between being powerful enough for some use cases and continuing to like be decentralized will just be like impossible to handle. But I think the solution is to like find more of these like forms of like interoperability and interconnection so that we can like get those benefits out of the shared network effects, but at the same time still like have L2s that like focus on totally different sets of users.
so which solution is the best to make our interoperability? So maybe Justin Drake is talking about, has been talking about base rollup to make a one big kind of no layer 2, which is separated, but combining that, right? Or with native rollup. On the another hand, you supported EIP 7802. No, you were talking about that last year in EDCON, right? So which kind of solution is the best for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like actually yeah, less of a fan of based rollups than I was before, and I think for me the reason is that like I think especially as L1 scales, one of the big properties that L2s provide will be like not just scalability, but also the like sequencing properties. So that includes like very fast transaction times. It includes like MEV protection. I think it's like different for different L2s, right? So like for Intmax, for example, like you actually have like a type of hyperscaling that the L1 will not possibly be able to get because it's just so dependent on like the details of like the plasma construction and the design. But for like L2s that are more like EVM, right? It's like there's actually value in sequencing being more separate. And I think like most things that matter can be done asynchronously. And I mean, like there is value in trying to figure out like a type of synchronous interaction, but potentially, yeah, like that doesn't need to be every type of block. Like that also, like doing that just between L2 and L1 might be fine. Like I'm also a bit scared of these protocols that try to sort of merge all of the L2s together because they basically require every L2 to like follow a lot of particular standards, and then they have a lot of the same risks in terms of like centralizing block building. So it's I mean, like I think there are going to be cases where it's valuable for sets of L2s to do that, but like I do think that other kinds of things and just simpler forms of standards for things like moving tokens and like making sure that can happen, like not necessarily synchronously, but like at least very fast will be important.
So it's not like a quite condensed level of the availability. It's more like, let's say, uh, kind of optimal one.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so Graham, what do you think about the solution to fix the fragmentation?
Fragmentations.
Basically, you said the fragmentation. You implied that fragmentation is one of the problem of the
Yeah.
UX, right?
Yeah.
So do you think the existing solution is good enough for that, or do you want something else?
I think the fragmentations might be not that problem, but as long as our layer one can scale up enough and for the basic instructions and have enough capabilities and to do everything, and each layer twos can remain their own cultures, as we said before, and yeah, but people really need to do things across the chains. So, as I said before, that the user experience is also very important. So, that in that case, the fragmentation might be a problems, and we need maybe there's a solution. Maybe that we need to unify a standard to build and to make things easier to transfer from one chain to another one. But besides the unified standard, I think there's another problem that we might be noticed that how we make people willing to apply this standard, and how we can upgrade our old architectures and old applications to the new standard easily and smoothly.
So being EVM compatible, is that enough kind of well-defined standard for your on your perspective, or kind of we need more standard just beyond being just EVM compatible? So I think that EVM, yeah, being a EVM compatible, it's kind of already kind of one of the standard, right?
Mm.
And the people are using the same RPC, and basically wallets can connect to the EVM compatible layer 2, just like connecting to layer 1, right? So do you think we need more standard to kind of standardize the other layer 2s?
Depends on the situation, I think, and more standard means more complications, and I don't think we need more and more standards. But we need to optimize that. Is there one way to easy to use? As long as there's one protocol that will be easy to apply, and that will be enough.
I see. Yeah. Okay, got it. It's interesting. So, yeah, let's talk about the non-standard layer 2. Because as we discussed, layer 2 has many types of layer 2, and the Intmax is like quite very different. It's quite weird to many people, for example, because it has a privacy. And on the other hand, there are no EVM compatible layer 2s, and basically Aztec, Phoenix, they have a different type of kind of features. Different from the other layer 2. And what do you think is the best use case of the privacy smart contract like Aztec or Phoenix? So Suji, you said you talk about new use case. It's like a hotspot or the other kind of more related to daily lives, and I think it requires privacy sometimes. So what do you thought about the application on private smart contract?
Yeah, I think Hotpot, you don't need privacy, but all the other things other than Hotpot, after 9 p.m. you need privacy. After 10 p.m. probably. And the Aztec, I used to use the zk.money a lot. Unfortunately, that shut down.
The previous one, right? The first layer 1 based
No, actually, I think zk.money is already on layer 2 Aztec. You have to run their own RPC. Because I have a friend that forget to withdraw the money, and it take really a good process to just spin off your own RPC and withdraw the money. That was shutting down because of the Tornado Cash lawsuit. And I think right now the biggest problem for privacy folks, no matter ZK privacy or layer 2, is the incentive is not really aligned. For example, we all know that cash, we can use cash for money laundering stuff, right? And you can use second-handed train ticket for Japan. You go anywhere with your second-handed JR train ticket, that's definitely doing money laundering stuff. But the incentive is aligned because for the train company or for the people who print money, like the government, it's okay to have the extra abundant supply, and they're good with that. They're happy with that. But for the privacy infra provider, they have much more liability than they just say we don't know what's going on, right? And right now, the way we view it, even after the Tenor Cash victory, win the lawsuit, like partially win the lawsuit, is still very frightening. I asked several friends close to Aztec or with Aztec whether they're gonna reopen Diki money. They are seriously considering definitely not. So this is a problem, and they don't have really good incentive to align with that decision. While we all know, like if you're JR doing the Sika, JR train ticket, you know what people are doing with the ticket, but it's fine. You have extra financial incentive. So that's the problem, yeah, and also the liability come with it. So hopefully I can use Seiki money one day again.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's really interesting to refer to JR on the ticket stuffs because back to 2000s, there was huge discussion about the using do you know the cash card, the money card of JR.
Yeah, the old Japanese law have no limit on that.
Yeah.
The new one only allow like $200,
Yeah.
but the old one still can use. So I once encountered someone carry on an old JR ticket with almost $1 million inside, and it just a bug just somehow work. And unfortunately, I think right now the incentive and the frightening effect for developer is so huge. Even with big VC support, I think Aztec and other people is very frightened to do that. Yeah, again, yeah. So, but again, like as I mentioned, JR 100% know what people are doing. they're a state-backed train company. They know people are doing that for money laundering, and they're fine with that. So we need some middle layer, like just you can play around it, and someone like state-backed train company handle the liability for you, and you can do innovation on top of it. That's
Yeah.
something hopefully we can do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea. The back to 2000s, Japanese train company like JL wanted to use that IC card, the money card, for another shopping, not limited to train. But the people talk about the privacy stuff at the time because the no train trip information is one of the most private information, right? So they had a huge discussion to prevent to utilize that card for the other reason. But today people are using that, so what's really interesting that from the beginning, people obsess about the privacy and prevent that. But people after that, they kind of choose convenience, being convenient, and they abandon the privacy, right? And we are using that for almost any purpose in Japan right now. So it's similar to that. So if we apply the Ziki money stuff to there, it's quite good match because it's solving all the problem, right? So how about Graham? So what do you think is what do you come up with as a use case of this privacy preserving smart contract?
I do, I do have a scenario of an industry that can strongly requirements for the privacies and is public health. Because when in Australia and when I do some business with the government and also the public health agencies, and they have lots of data based on the patients with a disability or even the teenagers, and they have a strong needs for keep the patient's privacies. So when we perform the blockchain or the smart contract to this, I think it's like a big companies or government agencies. They treating the privacy as a top priorities. Is as same as the securities. So I think in that case, and private smart contract is the good case to use. And also, I know that in these days there's a lot of like biometric solutions for the identifications, and we need to collect many personal data based on the biological. I think that in that case, and as we say, we want to keep security. We collect the personal biology informations, but that give a risk to expose the privacies to the public. So I think in that case, we need to think about more about privacy's smart contract.
So basically, there are many serious use cases like medical stuff and government-related stuff
Yes,
and the
yes,
ID
correct.
stuff. Yeah, it's good. And basically, governments are quite professional about losing data and they're exposing.
Yes, every
data.
time we speak, we're talking some things with a big enterprise and the government. They were talking about don't leaking data to others, but actually some of the data leaking from themselves. So I think in the futures and no matters to the big agencies or to the final users, and we can find better solutions to keep everyone's privacies and for their medical record or the anything personal informations.
Yes, that's good. So Vitalik, what do you think? What do you come up with as a use case of privacy preserving smart contract like Zama or Aztec or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with privacy, right, is that like it gets adopted, the most easily when there is a really compelling use case for why it's needed, and I mean, even, like we see this with the VPNs, right? Like VPNs become much more popular when you need them to do a specific thing. And sometimes that specific thing is not even privacy. It's like getting around, like country restrictions on particular services. And so for like blockchain privacy, the like different people are definitely like going to be in different situations. But like the one place that I've seen where like the need for privacy is immediately obvious for people is like privacy in DeFi, right? Because like traders have a lot of different trading strategies, and they want those trading strategies to be protected, and so there's a lot of like private DeFi protocols that are trying to serve that, and like they seem to be getting quite a bit of interest. And then the other side of this, I think, is also decreasing the cost of privacy to the point where it becomes okay to just have it by default, right? And so there, I think the analogy is like I think maybe the biggest success story of privacy outside crypto the last 5 years is Signal. And then maybe the biggest success story of privacy outside crypto the 5 years before that was HTTPS. And like who here chose to switch from HTTP to HTTPS? Okay, a few people did, right? But who here has switched from HTTP to HTTPS? We all have, right? And like it happened by default, just mostly without people really noticing, right? And you know, the switch from Telegram to Signal, I think, was also interesting because like there definitely have been a lot of individual situations that made people realize like, whoa, you know, like in this particular case, like your data might get leaked, it might get used in all kinds of ways. And then you know, we saw Pavel getting arrested in France, and then we realized like maybe Telegram is backdoored by the Western and Russian governments. And you know, you have these like individual situations that made these like step function changes in Signal adoption. And now for me and for like probably even the average person I know, you know, like Signal is like primary over Telegram. And so I think like those are both two interesting situations that we can learn from, right? Basically, yeah, like can we make it cheap enough that people are willing to adopt it by default, and then you know, like look for like what are the situations that create that compelling need, and then be there to actually meet it.
So you mentioned to the DeFi, you know, strategy conceals that. Do you think the privacy preserving smart contract solves the MEV problem? Because it's a front running MEV. It's basically coming from the information leak to the block
Yeah.
builder, right?
Right. So I think that's not really privacy preserving smart contracts. That's more privacy preserving mempools. But yes, that is a very important use case.
I see. So, and also you talk about the signals and you know the other privacy preserving tools outside blockchain space, and maybe Brave is one of the successful ICO project, and you know it raised a lot of money back to the 70s, and it's still loved by many people. It's like a billion level people. It's totally great. Do you think Brave privacy preserving browser is doing well?
Do I think what?
Do you think the Brave browser, no, which is
Yeah.
privacy preserving, no, is doing well here?
Mm. I mean, I feel like Brave has done a lot of very impressive things, right? I mean, both for privacy and like automatically removing cookies and trackers. I mean, I think like the core principle that like when you interact with an application on the internet, you don't have to like take the application as is. Like users should have something sophisticated on the side of the user that are willing to do some like invasive things to try to make that application like less exploitative. Like I think that's been very good. I actually think we will need much more of that in the future. I think you know, I do feel like Brave has been like moving more slowly over the last couple of years than I would like, and so you know I hope they move faster. I hope we see more other things. I think figuring out like the right way to incorporate AI is also going to be one part of the answer, right? Because I think the challenge in these situations is always like how to like if you don't want to be like the GDPR dystopia and make people make 15 clicks, then like you have to do a good job of approximating like guessing your user's intention. And like LLMs and that kind of technology can be very good at doing that. But then at the same time, you don't want to trust it directly, right? Because like AI is also attackable. It's like imperfect, and so figuring out like how to combine it with other tools and like how to use it in the right way, I think will be a really good like problem to go after. So no, I think there's a big opportunity to do many more things like what Brave has already done.
Yeah, so outside of the crypto space, a lot of users care about privacy, but it's quite a tragedy or ironical that in crypto space, people do not encrypt transactions so much. On the outside of the crypto space, people are using privacy preserving tool a lot, not like Signal or Brave or the other stuff. And what do you think is the timing for people to realize privacy matters in crypto space? So yeah, so start from Graham. Yeah, let's go.
I think there's several situations when people really think about the privacy. So one is there's once their asset value reaches a threshold. I think when we're talking about transfer a couple of dollars and no one care about the privacies, but when the value reach high levels and people do care about the privacies, no one want others to tracking or the tracing their transactions, and that's the first situations. The second one I think is when people facing the risk of the any transactions or other behaviors on the crypto world, and they will think privacy might be the priorities. And if you don't want to others to tracking your see your behaviors and to keep you safe, I think the risk when they face the risk and they was thinking about the privacy things.
So when people feel like they are tracked, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Suji, how about this? So when people realize they need privacy or
Yeah,
not?
I think a lot of those like big institutions have to do some educational job first. I'll give you an example like Kraken and OKX. That's the only two exchange I know have relatively routinely update your deposit address. Because if you use the same exchange account for a long time enough, basically it's very easy to guess where you live based on the time zone and what you buy and what you sell. And that's only to exchange. Kraken is a little bit more cypherpunk from my understanding. So they do actually routinely update that, but I don't see any other exchange following this. It's very easy because it's centralized for them. They don't need to solve like a mathematical problem for exchange centralized. There's a lot of like Web2 privacy way. You can just allow people to one click generate a new address. But I just don't think there's enough education. One good example will be right after the FTX, Vitalik wrote a blog about the Merkle tree proof of the asset, POR, and all of a sudden, like all the centralized entity are very kind of like they just so rushed to do that just to prove they're okay. Even though probably some of them not really that okay, but they just have to do that to prove they're okay. I think if one single thing happen, like a bad news, a big scandal happen, everyone gonna do this, like generating new deposit address for users. And by the way, Coinbase do the worst because they just don't do that for a long time. But it's very easy technically. Then every new DeFi wallet will also follow, like, because theoretically, this is also very easy. Like theoretically, one private key, one mem words, you can generate tons of wallet address, right? If you ever use Ledger, it'll give you 10 address. It's very easy to just even use the same private key without updating a lot of things, and maybe a small EIP can be very helpful. Then if we have more than one address for one wallet, that actually solves some of the privacy problem, educate the users, and then we're looking for better mathematical, more ZK-driven solution. I think that's the right way. Yeah, because For now, unfortunately, even decentralized part of the privacy in the exchange is not. People just don't talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, incident-based adoption. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
it
We need
works
to.
pretty well.
I think Vitaly need to write more blog and add Binance, Coinbase, and you're gonna just. I think they're gonna do that very soon. Yeah, more blog.
Yeah, and I remember that the Mount Gox, made a huge adoption to the self-host, the
Yeah,
wallet,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah. If
yeah, like the way, incident make people
no more,
rush
no more
to
bankruptcy.
yeah. So Vitalik, how about this? So when is the timing for people to realize or move on to their privacy adoption?
I mean, I think it's the intersection of two things, right? One is the costs, like meaning, like both transaction fees and especially user experience costs going down, and the other is like it's always, like some event occurring that, like either like brings a lot more users over, or that like shows just publicly shows a lot of people the importance of caring about the problem. And so one thing I'm excited about is like wallets integrating private sends by default. Because like right now, like if you want to use like Railgun, then you have to open a totally separate wallet and then do 5 clicks, and like it's extremely annoying, right? Like the UX of doing a private send should be the same as the UX of doing a regular send. And I think if we can get to there, and like if we can improve privacy UX of wallets quite a bit over the next 1 or 2 years, then like we'll definitely like step up to the point where like a much larger, and there's a much larger enthusiast community at least that's using these kinds of things, and like possibly like it's OGs who have a lot of ETH who are just willing to pay like more expensive fees for everything, and then over time the technology improves and it gets cheaper and cheaper. So I expect it will happen in stages. I mean, I definitely hope that like by like 5 years or so, like it becomes much more default.
So naturally, people move on to the privacy when UX gets
Exactly.
better on the cheaper fee for their let's say cheaper privacy, right? So I think that the timing for the people to move on to privacy, I presume that it's like every address will be traced by AI or something like that.
Yeah.
Right now Blockchain Explorer is just
Yeah.
showing all the address activity manually, right? And the people do not trace the other people so much, and maybe Vitalik.eth is the most traced address in the world. But in the AI period, people have more ability to trace the other people. So every single address will be like Vitalik.eth.
Yeah.
All other activity will be more traced by many people, I
Yeah,
guess.
I mean, I also expect that, like, unfortunately, we're going to see like some individual events that just like shows people the importance of not letting the public, and in some places, like even not letting governments, like know exactly how much money you have, right? Because like physical violence, both from the top and from the bottom, is becoming a bigger and bigger problem, and I think there is a need for people who have like a lot of their assets in crypto to protect themselves. And so like that is like a pragmatic thing that I expect is going to drive I mean both people to like being willing to hold more of their assets privately, and also like to doing transfers and like hiding like what other people they're associated with, right? So yeah, I think like that's one of those like trends that we'll expect to see happen. And then I mean, on top of that, yeah, no, the most important thing I think is just like slowly improving network effects, like slowly decreasing cost, and eventually, like we'll see, the equilibrium flip, and like for more and more groups of people.
So basically, you don't hope some big incident happens,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I mean, like, unfortunately, I predict that that big incidents will happen that like motivate people to be more secure because like that's happened like many times before. But I mean, I also I hope it doesn't. But I think the most reliable way to make sure it doesn't is to like actually make sure that we're all much more private and much more secure.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, it's little time left for this session, but the last topic, this point is related to payments a bit because the huge adoption of the payments are happening in layer 2 space and in crypto general. And yeah, if people pay with crypto, people care about privacy more. But yeah, basically, it's been a while. The other blockchain, like Tron or BSC, they're actually main actor of the sending money or the usual daily transaction, just kind of simple transactions, sending money to another address. And the Ethereum is kind of a lot of new project about the payment on Ethereum happening right now, right? So what do you think is the best way to utilize Ethereum layer 1 or layer 2 regarding payments? Like, the new project is like X402 is like based backed by Coinbase or Base, right? Or yeah, the other solutions. No, we have many solutions right now, right?
So like my ideal for how I think the UX of this should work is that I think like if you're someone who accepts payments like a user and a merchant, then like you and then you should have QR code address or something, and then the user that is making the payments, they will be able to scan it, and then even if they're not on the same layer 2 or layer 1, then like basically the user should be able to figure out like what is the right way to route the payments to make sure it happens, right? Like I don't think we want a world where like there's an Intmax payment ecosystem and then also an Optimism payment ecosystem and like also an Aztec payment ecosystem. I think like in people who use these privacy protocols, for example, like they should be able to interact both with each other and with the outside world. And then the same thing across L2s, right? Like people should like someone who accepts a payment should by default accept a payment on L1 and on every L2. And this should be a big focus of a lot of the interoperability work that we're doing. But I mean, I think these are like there's no one big solution. I think it's like a collection of a lot of small solutions that should get better.
So chain abstraction, UX-based chain abstraction works very well for that. And
And I think besides the software architecture of the payment, and I think there's another field that we need to pay attention, like hardware layers, because when we make transactions in the real world, the hardware always be the first entries to the to the transactions. So nowadays, the hardware like a wallet and the post machines, their security is guaranteed by the factories. So the final user is a black box to the final users, and we don't have a method to verify it. So I think there we should think about a method architectures to let user can at least verify their own hardwares as some case, and this method could be easy and can perform by themselves. I do know some method that like using IR lights and to scan the chips, but still need lots of technical devices and building in the laboratories. So there may be another level of simple solutions for the hardware verifications, so people can do by themselves. And we combine both hardware and software architecture together to make accessible payment.
it's super interesting because about this region, this topic, nobody talk about hardware. So
Yeah, that's why I think that's important because we always, by default, trust each hardware we bought. And even the factory is sending you the original devices, and there's no guarantees there's something happened when the hardware is in transportations.
okay,
So I think people need a way to verify by themselves, at least one way. Yeah.
okay, oh, sweet.
Yeah, a little bit like example for like say Tron and other layer two. Like if you have a bad coffee shop and good coffee shop, and the bad coffee shop is keep give people coupon, people just gonna go to the bad one. You know, same thing apply for Hotpot or what other food industry, because people just say, hey, okay, there was some coupon, and they just go to the bad one. That's what happened for stablecoin payment in the past few years. When layer one was very expensive, the exchange are rebating Tron USDT. So that's why people just go to that one. They don't really feel the difference. But right now, the situation is actually layer one is already pretty good. I think Binance chain is relatively neutral, and the other chain is doing a really good job. But unfortunately, I don't see anyone doing this reverse coupon thing to the existing users, right? Because the existing users, they're not criminals, right? I think like we're developers, right? So I think people here don't really use Tron or whatever. But if I actually see people treat people use Tron USDT as criminals in the developer conference. Like, hey, how dare you use Justin's chain for sending me money? They're not. They just somehow use it for some reason, right? And the right way is, hey, you know, you've been drinking like black coffee for years. I will give you like a nice free coupon for the good coffee, and let's go to my home. That's the best way. So Coinbase did try this thing with this little tiny project called Ontron, and you put USDT to the Ontron. They gave you base USDC, but that also limited to base. It actually is like, hey, have to go to my coffee shop, not the other people's coffee shop. So it's weird. If we know something's not really good, and we should have collective effort to give nice coupon and attract the users. Don't criticize the user as criminal. They're not. They're not. They're just somehow stuck there, right? So that's something I think very important for anything in those out layer one that have very important security issue or flaws that we want to, as developer, we want to fix. We want to treat the user with our own heart and, you know, warm heart. Don't just, you know, criticize them and give them nice stuff,
Yeah.
and they will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I presume that layer two will be kind of
Yeah,
up by
if
people.
anyone
while
layer two
other-
people here,
yeah.
please do that.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone doing that right now.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, let's wrap up this session. And thanks so much. And we talk about a lot about layer two. And let's use layer two. That's it. Thanks so much.
ありがとうございました。Thank you very much.